Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my Battlecast experience yet again, and I'm sorry I didn't make one of these last week. It was mainly just because I was getting back into the swing of things at college, and if you're wondering how that's gone, it's gone okay. I would say my classes are pretty decently easy besides math, which is kind of a given. But yeah, besides that, they've been relatively okay. I mean, I'm just starting out even still. It's only my first week back, but yeah, it's been going relatively smoothly and they don't seem that difficult from what I've seen. So yeah, anyway, let's just talk about how I progressed in the game since that's what you're here for. And I've actually made a good amount of progress, I would say. I've actually beaten Cats of the Cosmos Chapter 1, which is huge, although I will say it did take a lot of continues to do that, mainly just because my execution was bad. I don't think it was because of my cat units or the formation of any of them. I think it was just my bad execution that led me to have to use a lot of continues and burn up some cat food, but hey, I got most of it back anyway by just winning the stage and getting that like 100 cat food reward that you get once you beat Cats of the Cosmos Chapter 1. So I would say that was a good trade-off, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with just beating that stage. However, since then, I've also gotten my first Legend Rare, and I actually got this very recently, about, I think, yesterday, and she seems okay. The problem is that the good thing. Let me just say the good thing. I'm not gonna try to complain about her too much because it is still legend rare, and I got very lucky. The 0.3% chance, which is fucking insane, and I realize that. However, she isn't wave immune, but she does a fuck ton of damage to traitless, so that's good. But the huge downside is that she just isn't wave immune, which is bad because a lot of traitless enemies have wave attacks. And I've seen her attack in game. She has to get very close and up front to an enemy in order to do long range damage. And again, while she does insane amounts of damage to traitless enemies, she doesn't have any wave immunity. So if there's like a very tanky wave attack traitless enemy up front, it's most likely that she's gonna get knocked back or get like really damaged from that fight. And not only that, if there's any traded enemies whatsoever, she's kind of just gonna get destroyed because she's not a good generalist unit at all, which really sucks for me because I want a generalist unit that also does a good amount of damage to traitless enemies. Which is why I think I probably want like a Dark Tanyan. I think that's how you pronounce it. Basically, the dark version of this guy. And this guy's really good. But I think I want the dark version more because he is a good generalist unit, does a good amount of damage to traded enemies, but also does a fuck ton of damage to traitless, which I desperately need because, as I said, while this unit is very good, because, you know, she's a fucking legend rare, so of course she's at least good. I mean, I actually have heard that there are some bad legend rares. Even then, like, I've heard that she's probably one of the worst legend rares and a pretty big disappointment in the Epic Fest, which I can understand because there are a lot of really great Ubers in Epic Fest and some of the best Ubers in the game, including this guy right here, which is why I'm probably still going to use Dark Phono for honestly most stages that still have traitless enemies that have wave attacks, because Dark Phono doesn't take damage from waves and he's a good long range attacker, so he can mostly just kill a lot of the enemies on the back line and just do a lot of damage, and is a really good debuffer as well. He has easily carried me through a lot of stages, and I'm not ashamed to admit that because he's really goddamn good. He's one of the best Ubers in the game, considered by a lot of people. So yeah, as I said, I'm still going to probably be using him for most of the stages, but again, I am really pining for another really great traitless Uber, because while I said that this unit, this Legend Rare, is very good for traitless enemies, it's a very niche special case, really, because again, she doesn't have wave immunity, so she takes damage from waves, which sucks. So I think the only really good use case for her in that case is just using her for really tanky traitless enemies that don't have wave attacks, which honestly, especially from what I've seen late game, really isn't that many traitless enemies, which kind of sucks. So yeah, again, she's very niche in terms of her use case, but I'm still glad that I got her because I did desperately need a traitless enemy or a traitless unit because I don't have any. Besides, I would say I think no, not these, but this guy is the only traitless enemy I have, and he doesn't even do more damage to traitless enemies. He's just more resistant to them. And the bad thing is, these guys do no damage at all whatsoever, like a zero. They do like 1,000 DPS, which is so fucking bad. Which is why I don't use him like at all. He's like really, really bad. He is resistant, so that's good, but again, it's not really that useful if he can't really do that much damage. So yeah, as I said, I did desperately need a traitless enemy, so I'm glad I got one finally. Or I keep saying traitless enemy, a traitless unit, so I'm glad I got one. But again, I just honestly wish I probably got Dark Tanyan instead. I know that's insane for me to say, and I know I'm complaining that I got a legend rare, which is very, very fucking rare, and I understand that. However, again, I want a traitless, not a traitless, a good generalist traitless unit. That's what I'm searching for, and I think Dark Tanyan is going to be better for me in that use case because he's wave immune, he does a good amount of damage to traded enemies still, but he does a lot of damage to traitless. So I think that would be a much better suit for me for like this generalist deck I want to build. But besides that, that is basically it. I haven't honestly made that much progress. Besides that, I've gotten a few new ancient eggs, and I've just upgraded my units some more. I did, however, use talents to actually get one of my cats to become wave immune, which is Dancer Cat, which is huge because I also don't have any wave immune cats besides Dark Phono and now this guy that are actually, viable. So yeah, I'm glad that I got enough talent points, or NP, I think it's called, to get him immune to wave, which is really, really good because he also does a good amount of damage, and he has a decent amount of health, not that much health, but he does a lot of damage. So I'm glad that I got him wave immune. And I also got these guys, the cats in the box, to be extra useful against blacks. I'm sorry, I really butchered the words there. Basically, just have a lot more damage against blacks, massive damage against them. So yeah, I'm really glad that I got that trait or that talent, I mean, because that means they are really, really good against them and just do a lot more damage, which I also really need because I don't have that many really high damage anti-black units. So I'm glad that I actually have one now. But yeah, besides that, that is basically it. I don't have a whole lot else to say. I just beat Cats of the Cosmos Chapter 1, on to Chapter 2 now, beating some legend stages that I can out of like this new Lunar New Year kind of event that's going on right now, and just trying to see if I could fit this new legend rare into my deck at all, which is why I have her in my deck right now. And I know I have a lot of uber rares and like very expensive units, but that's mainly just because I really want to focus on just powering through some of these harder stages at some of these points and just using a lot of these really, really good units I have. But yeah, that is basically it, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.